What is it that makes One Punch Man special? Before the anime was released, I was wondering how the hell a series about a guy who one-shots all his enemies could possibly be entertaining. But what I ended up finding out was that Saitama himself isn't even really the most important part about the series. Seeing the lives and the struggles of the heroes around Saitama was the best part, which makes for some decent world building and character development. So for a game about One Punch Man, where again Saitama can win fights without so much as breathing on his opponent, he ends up being probably one of the worst parts about the game. You can't have a One Punch game without the main character himself, of course, but in the vast world of fighting games, I'm sure everyone can admit that his whole mechanic is some bullshit. Luckily though, this game has so much more potential beyond Saitama. And the best part is that you'll barely even play as him through the main campaign and missions. Instead, the game focuses heavily on the created characters, including the one that you made for yourself. You're able to customize yourself with some of the most obscure accessories and outfits to be the kind of hero you think is best. And I guess you're wondering now, well, what about me? What did I make? Well, I started off as some blue dude named Cornholio. Why, you may ask? Because why not? That's why. Along the way, you'll even gain new abilities from other heroes, such as Metal Bat with his weapon style and Tatsumaki with her psychic techniques. Plus, many of the villains you'll face will also be created characters that could potentially have these same exact abilities. At first, fighting all of these created characters seemed like a bit of a cop-out, because instead they could have added in a lot more of the obscure characters from the series. But the more I thought about it, the more it just felt right. If you've seen either One Punch Man or Mob Psycho 100, then you already know how goofy that these series can get. It's hard to take them seriously most of the time because they're so self-aware about how things can go from -20 to 1 million in just a few seconds. So for a game coming from the insane mind of one, you're going to need a tolerance for the shenanigans. But it does exactly what it should do for a game that covers the basic plot points in the main series. You go through the main parts of Season 1 leading all the way up to the alien invasion and then the fight against Boros. Before I went into this, I didn't expect it to be more than just a regular fighting game with a bare bones single player mode, but it's doing a lot more than I thought. The campaign has you exploring a small section of the city, interacting with characters and building up your friendship with them, which also helps you unlock their abilities as well as get a glimpse into their own lives and struggles. You can climb through the ranks and become an S-rank hero if you want to, but the grind to get there is gonna take a bit. I only made it up to rank A before finishing the main campaign, and with how repetitive a lot of the fights can get, I wasn't too excited to climb much further. You end up fighting a ton of villains and quote-unquote monsters that seem to be random things from the character creator put together. I swear, there were so many times where I had to fight horses you'd think I was playing them's fighting herds and not a One Punch Man game. Or hell, maybe even some weird ass BoJack Horseman fighting game. This game doesn't try to be too different from any of the other anime arena fighting games, and that's just fine. Maybe I'm saying that because I'm so used to playing these mediocre arena fighters, but it's not terrible for what it is. Sure, you can tell this wasn't some high budget game, but the gameplay is just interesting enough to keep me locked into playing it. Combat wise, you have a lot of different options if you're playing as your created character. However, unlike other games like Jump Force where you can mix and match whatever abilities your heart desires, you'll be forced to pick a battle type in this game. The type you choose will determine what your combo will be and the special attacks you'll be able to pull off. So if you choose the machine type, you could be using the same combos and abilities as Genos, but you won't be able to use any of the abilities that a psychic user would be able to use. And that doesn't erase the potential for spam and unbalanced attacks, but it does help knowing what to expect from your opponents. One feature I wasn't too excited about was the randomness that gets thrown into so many of the battles. Drones will come in to drop attack and defense buffs, but even worse is when they drop a crate that heals half your health bar. Believe me, it does add a layer of excitement in fights, but depending on whether you want to use actual skill or just have fun, it could get in the way. Just telling from how dudes act when items are turned on in Smash Bros, I can tell that fighting game players hate when random stuff pops up in the middle of a fight. So I can't really blame them for seeing all the disturbances out of nowhere as a pain in the ass. Not to mention the mechanic where Saitama can be chosen, but you have to wait a while for him to show up. But either way, having Saitama as part of the fight just takes so much of the fun out of it, because as soon as he shows up, you basically just won. It's kind of like if you were in a duel with Yugi and you knew for a fact that this nigga had Exodia, and it's just like, bruh, I'm just waiting to die. Like, what the f? Like, this dude is one heart of the cards away from obliterating me. Why does it even matter? On top of the Saitama mechanic, this game takes itself a lot less seriously as a fighting game. Normally I'd say that's fine, but you have to keep in mind that for games like this, the community is everything. If people aren't getting online and fighting it out on the regular, then unfortunately that means that your fighting game is a flop. And the same thing can be said about Battle Royale games as well, but that's completely for a different video. The fact that A Hero Nobody Knows is such a joke game made for fans of the series could be the main reason why the online for it died after only 2 years. Yes, by the time you see this video, One Punch Man A Hero Nobody Knows would already have the online servers shut down. And the same is just about to happen with Jump Force 2, as I mentioned in a recent video. But it's interesting to at least see that Jump Force was given a full 4 years plus 2 season passes worth of DLC, while One Punch Man fizzled out in only half of that time. So for these games where you can no longer play online, it makes you really realize how well the game was made. The story alone takes about 8 hours to finish, including some of the side missions you'll need to do to increase your contribution level. And that's basically the gateway to unlocking the next parts of the story, and you have to fill up that level each and every time. But it's pretty cool though, because some of the side missions will have you connecting with some of the characters from the series. And I thought it was nice that some of the characters that do get the spotlight aren't characters that had too much attention in the anime, so I got to learn more about them. Connecting with these characters can be a good time, and on top of that, there's other little things you can do, like getting into decorating your apartment. It wasn't something I was into that much, but hey, it is a different feature, something that you can play around with if that's what you wish. I'd say that playing through this game was a pretty decent time, although it isn't anything to get too excited over. Now, would I want a sequel to this to cover season 2 and maybe even something beyond that? Probably not. But for what it is, it does satisfy what a fan of the series would want, at least for the first season of the anime. But trust and believe, if they added Captain Mizuki to this game, there wasn't any way in hell it would have died the way it did. But tell me what you think about this review of One Punch Man, A Hero Nobody Knows. I'd love to hear all your thoughts in the comments. That's about all for today, so subscribe for more videos just like this one, and I'll see you all next time.